May 3rd, 2018, special meeting of the budget hearing of the Woodbridge Township Board of Education will please come to order. Please rise for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to take a moment of silence for the loss of Woodbridge High School. Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Delapietro?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Molnar?
Present.
Mr. Sedana?
Here.
Mr. Tamburello?
Here.
Mr. Velez? Here. And Mr. Treebwasser.
Here. Mr. Secretary, as required by the Sunshine Law, please read the notice of meetings.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted as follows. April 19, 2018, emailed to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Municipal Clerk's Office, posted in Avenel Middle School and the Board of Education Administration Building.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Policy and Planning, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Policy and Planning Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, presents the following one item. I move for the adoption of the foregoing.
I have a motion by Mr. Harris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Anderson. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Abstaining under my name. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Mr. Velez?
Yes.
And Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes. Finance and Insurance, Mr. Tamburello.
Thank you. The Finance and Insurance Committee, on recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and Business Administrator Board Secretary, presents the following two items. I move for the adoption of the foregoing two items.
I have a motion by Mr. Tamburello. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Delapietro. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Are there any comments or questions from the public? Roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Delapietro?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar?
Yes.
Mr. Sedana?
Yes.
Mr. Tamburello?
Yes.
Mr. Velez? Yes. Mr. Treebwasser.
Yes. In keeping with our past practice, we will open this portion of the meeting for statements from the public. If you wish to say something, please come to the microphone, state your name and where you live. Being there's no comments from the public, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So motion?
So a motion by Mr. Molnar, seconded?
Second. Second.
Second by Mr. Delapietro. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Carried.